A pleasant day to you, ma. I'm Jela Corsiga, BSHM 3A. Today I'm going to discuss the topic about the Chapter 13, Law, Labor, and Legal Aspects in Tourism and Hospitality. Now, these are the learning objectives. First, enumerate the classification of employees, their benefits, privileges, and policies affecting them. And second, identify some best practices in handling human resources in tourism establishments. And third, explain the rights of the workers employed in tourism establishments. So these are the contents. First, introduction. Second, classification of employees. Third, benefits, privileges, policies affecting employees. And lastly, best labor practices in tourism establishments. So for the introduction, so the tourism industry, with its labor-intensive nature, is prone to many labor issues. Hence, labor law plays a vital role in efficient operation of the various business enterprises related to tourism. This chapter deals with important provisions governing labor laws as well as the benefits, privileges, and policies affecting employees. So, classification of employees. So, employees of a company may be classified as follows. First, regular employees are those engaged in essential business activities or have served for at least a year, including those retained after a probationary period or provided by a labor-only contractor to the principal. So second, casual employees are engaged in incidental work for a definite period, not falling under regular project or seasonal employment. However, if they serve for at least a year, they become regular employees in the specific activity they're employed in. So third, seasonal employees work during specific seasons and are either regular or non-regular. So regular seasonal employees are periodically called to work and are temporarily laid off during off-seasons, maintaining their employment relationship with the employer. So they enjoy a security of tenure and can be dismissed without just cause, as their employment is considered continuous despite seasonal breaks. Fourth, project employees are hired for specific projects or undertakings with predetermined completion or termination dates or for seasonal work. The key factor in distinguishing project employees from regular ones is whether they were engaged for a particular project with specified duration and scope. So failure to file termination reports after each project with the Public Employment Office indicates that an employee may not be considered a project employee. Fifth is the probationary employees undergo a trial period where the employer assesses their suitability for permanent employment, which typically lasts for up to 6 months. The employer must communicate the standards for becoming a regular employee to the probationary employee at the time of engagement. So otherwise, the employee is considered a regular employee. 6 is employees for a fixed term are those covered by contracts specifying a set duration of employment. Such agreements are valid if entered in voluntarily by both parties and not intended to evade labor laws regarding job security. So 7, overseas Filipino workers are individuals employed in enumerated activities in countries where they are not legal residents. Their employment is governed by Republic Act 8042, also known as the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipinos Act of 1995. 8. Special workers include apprentices, learners, and handicapped workers. Apprentices undergo training in apprenticeable occupations through with written agreements, while learners receive practical on-the-job training in non-apprenticeable occupations for up to 3 months. So handicapped workers have impaired earning capacity due to age, physical or mental deficiency, and are entitled to equal employment terms and benefits under the Magna Carta for disabled persons. Thus, understanding the classification of employees is essential for both employers and workers to navigate labor laws effectively. So whether regular, seasonal, project-based, or special workers, Recognizing their rights and responsibilities ensures a fair and lawful working environment for all parties involved. So these are the following benefits, privileges, policies affecting employees. First, minimum wage. Rates are determined by regional tripartite and productivity boards under Republic Act number 6727. It aims to not to only establish a base wage but also promote productivity and gain sharing measures to enhance living standards and recognize labor's importance in the socio-economic landscape. So second is collective bargaining. Involves negotiations between employers and employee representatives to establish agreements on wages, working conditions, and other terms of employment, resulting in a collective bargaining agreement, which is CBA. So the process is initiated when certain conditions such as majority representation of employees and a demand to bargain are met, and failure to engage in good faith bargaining or violating economic provisions of the CBA can lead to unfair labor practices, so potentially culminating in a strike or lockout. So third is under Article 255 of the Labor Code, Labor Management Councils, which are LMSs, serve as firms for management and employees to address grievances and resolve disputes, potentially securing industrial peace and obviating the need for labor unions with employee representative elected rather than appointed by management. Fourth is maternity and paternity leaves. Maternity leave benefits provided under Republic Act number 8282 guarantee female employees paid leave for childbirth or miscarriage, while Republic Act number 8187 grants paternity leave benefits to married male employees for the first 4 deliveries of their legitimate spouses, and Republic Act number 8972 extends leave privileges to solo parents, including parental leave of up to 7 days annually. So fifth is union rights, strikes, and lockouts. Union rights encompass the ability of legitimate labor organizations to represent members in lawsuits and collective bargaining. So while strikes and lockouts as temporary work stoppages are permissible only in the presence of a labor dispute arising from collective bargaining, deadlock, or unfair labor practices aiming to protect workers' rights to self-organization and promote healthy labor management relations. So sixth is service charges collected by certain establishments such as hotels and restaurants must be distributed with 85% going to covered employees equally and 15% retained by management for losses, breakages, and possible distribution to managerial employees at their discretion. 7 is employment contract. It is an agreement in which an employee commits to provide their efforts in work to an employer who in return agrees to compensate them based on time or quantity of work completed. 8 is under the Social Security law. Upon the death of a member meeting contribution requirements, primary beneficiaries receive a monthly pension while secondary beneficiaries receive a lump sum benefits, and a funeral grant is provided to help cover funeral expenses. So 9 is health benefits under the Social Security law encompass sickness, medical, and hospitalization benefits providing financial assistance to members who meet contribution requirements and are confined due to sickness or injury. 10 is under Republic Act number 9165. Drug testing is conducted by accredited laboratories monitored by the Department of Health to ensure result quality with certificates valid for 1 year for various purposes. 11 is under the new retirement law. Employees reaching the compulsory retirement age of 65 or 60 if no retirement plan exists and having served at least 5 years are entitled to retirement pay equivalent to 1/2 month's salary for every year of service. 12 is uniform policies in tourism establishments, such as hotels and restaurants are mandatory for employees to maintain a well-groomed appearance and wear clean uniforms, as these policies are required for accreditation by the Department of Tourism. So 13 is SSS, PhilHealth Employees, Compensation, Commission, and Pag-ibig. So private sector employees are covered by the SSS law, which aims to establish a tax-exempt social security system providing comprehensive protection against various contingencies like disability, sickness, maternity, old age, and death. 14. A termination of employment must adhere to due process, protecting workers' constitutional rights to security of tenure and ensuring dismissal is only for just and authorized causes as outlined in Article 283 of the Labor Code. So, best labor practices in tourism establishments. Based on interviews with almost 60 respondents managers, the following are the best labor practices that are now implemented in various tourism establishments. First is employers conduct comprehensive background checks for new hires. Second, new employees undergo a 2-week orientation training including a written examination. Third, dialogue with top management or weekly labor management. Council meetings address employee issues in workplaces without unions. Fourth, a regular performance evaluations and proactive counseling aim to improve employee performance. Fifth is merit-based pay increases and various additional benefits are provided to employees. Sixth is employers strictly adhere to due process in termination disputes. Seventh is newly hired employees receive orientation in the company's code of ethics and other policies. Eighth, employees are provided with copies of their job descriptions, company policies, and evaluation instruments. And ninth is companies heavily invest in employee and manager training and development. 10th, some tourism establishments use franchising and contractual employment to minimize labor costs. 11th is our government administered tourist sites strictly adhere to civil service laws and regulations. Therefore, the best labor practices in tourism establishments encompass comprehensive background checks through orientation and training, proactive management, and dialogue. Performance, also evaluations, adherence to due process, ethical orientations, and ongoing investments in employee developments. So that's all for this chapter 13, and I am Jela Corsiga, BS HM3A. Thank you for listening.